Social Affairs Ministry is about to develop an application to facilitate people to get social assistance. Krakatau Steel is targeting fresh funds of 200 up to 200,000 million from the divestment from subsidiaries IPO. Hello, good evening viewers. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of informations from business, economic and capital market sector. And as the pandemic is still going on, we'll provide you the latest COVID-19 information. So please stay safe by taking some simple precautions such as physical distancing, wearing a mask, avoiding crowds, cleaning your hands and having less mobility. With me, Lantai Wijaya, and this is Market Headlines. Social Affairs Ministry is about to develop an applications to facilitate people to get social assistance. To realize this, Ministry doesn't work alone, but with helping hands from Bank Indonesia, Financial Services Authority, up to applications developer. Social Affairs Ministry ensures that after emergency COVID-19 restriction is done, social assistance will be fully reloaded. The Minister, Twi Risma Harini, explained that in the assistance, distributions of social assistance, the Ministry has synchronized and matched the recipient data distributed and managed by the regional government with each citizen's identification number. Besides that, the Ministry of Social Affairs also encouraged the strengthening of distributions of existing social assistance. But as a breakthrough, Social Affairs Ministry is about to develop a digital application to facilitate people to get social assistance. It has worked with Bank Indonesia, Financial Services Authority, up to application developer to develop the application, so that social assistance can be distributed by using cell phone.
Jadi nanti belanja bisa di mana saja, bukan di e-warung saja, tapi bisa di mana saja menggunakan fitur itu. Nah, bagaimana dengan kondisi yang di tempat-tempat yang lain? Nanti kita akan sesuaikan karena kami mempunyai pula bagaimana bisa mengakomodir meskipun handphonenya nanti masih jadul, sehingga nanti seperti pilih nomor 1 dan sebagainya. Nah, ini juga bisa memberikan dampak. Kita akan cut, jadi sesuai dengan perintah Bapak Presiden bahwa tidak ada lagi belanja untuk rokok, tidak ada lagi belanja untuk minuman keras, maka
according to plan, the social assistance PAPs will distribute direct cash assistance to direct recipients. So far, the Ministry of Social Affairs has prepared a number of assistance such as Family Hope Program, Basic Food Card, Wage Subsidy, and so on. Jakarta, Raja Pamo, IDX Channel. Government is about to work hand in hand with FinTech in the matter of social assistance distributions. But aside from the innovation, the mechanism is receiving many pros and cons. Here are what they say about it.
Menurut saya, bantuan sosial dengan menggunakan FinTech ini merupakan suatu inovasi yang bagus karena dapat membantu kinerja pemerintah dalam pengawasan maupun pengendalian aliran dana bantuan sosial dengan tepat sasaran, yaitu kepada masyarakat yang membutuhkan. Nah, karena masih banyak didapati nih khususnya di wilayah saya di Kota Bekasi, itu masih banyak masyarakat yang memang dipotong bantuan sosialnya dari pihak RT dan juga RW.
Kalau menurut saya sih nggak masalah gitu, asal ada lembaga hukum yang ikut serta dalam pembagian bantuan melalui aplikasi FinTech.
Kalau menurut saya ada sisi positif dan sisi negatifnya. Kalau sisi positifnya, keuntungannya ya lebih memudahkan aja gitu kalau misalkan dana bantuan itu turun dari pemerintah terus masuk ke toko kita atau ke yang lain, kita lebih.
The government through the Ministry of Investment ensures that Indonesia will again get a large amount of investment. The government calls this investment related to the development of a green energy area in the North Kalimantan.
Investment Minister Bahlil Lahadalia ensured that in the near future, the government would get large investments of up to billions of dollars. This investment plan is intended for the development of a green energy area in North Kalimantan. However, Bahlil was reluctant to mention in detail about this investment because this will be announced directly by the Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment, Luhut Binsar Panjaitan.
Bahkan sekarang kita lagi membangun kawasan industri green energy di Kaltara. Nanti kami akan umumkan dengan Pak Menkomar Invest nanti. Belum saya buka sekarang ya, apa namanya. Itu juga kita ada bangun besar-besaran. Investasinya itu puluhan bilion US dollar itu. Kita akan bangun di Kaltara. Tapi nanti akan umumkan nanti Pak Menkomar Invest aja.
This investment realization plan in Kalimantan is considered in line with the government's plan to increase investment outside Java. To attract investors to invest outside Java, the government does not hesitate to provide a number of incentives, simplify licensings to help investors in the development process. Jakarta, Ade Firmansyah for IDX Channel.
Moving on to the global update, Sydney's lockdown has been extended by another month as COVID-19 cases continue to rise. Meanwhile, Tesla has reported surging profits despite shortage of semiconductor chips and congestions as part of hampering production. More stories on today's International Minute.
Sydney's lockdown has been extended by another month as COVID cases continue to rise. The city has been under stay-at-home order since late June due to an outbreak of the Delta variant. More than 2,500 people have been infected in Sydney's worst outbreak this year. New South Wales, of which Sydney is the capital, reported 177 new cases on Wednesday, the most in a day since March 2020. The UK economy will grow faster than expected this year as it recovers from the COVID pandemic, the International Monetary Fund has said. Economic prospects for rich and poor nations have diverged more due to differing access to COVID vaccines, it said. The IMF has upgraded growth forecasts for developed economies, but the outlook for many developing countries has weakened. Among the forecast revisions for this year, the largest upgrade is for the UK to 7%. Tesla has reported surging profits despite shortage of semiconductor chips and congestion at ports hampering production. Sales rose to $12 billion in the 3 months to the end of June, up from $6 billion a year ago. When its US factory was shut down, the electric car maker said it delivered a record 200,000 cars to customers in the same period. It added that public support for greener cars was greater than ever. Starbucks saw record sales in the third quarter as the impact of the pandemic receded and customers flocked to its stores. But the company's shares fell after it lowered its forecast for sales growth in China. Its second largest market outside the US, the Seattle-based coffee giant said its revenue soared 78% to $7.5 billion in the April to June period, an all-time high that beat Wall Street's forecast of $7.3 billion, according to analysts polled by Efek said. IDX Channel reports.
Market headlines will be right back after this quick break.
Hai sobat investor, kalian ingin tetap bisa menabung meskipun keadaan keuangan kalian sedang sulit? Dengerin tips berikut ini ya. Kita masuk ke tips yang pertama ya. Nah, yang pertama, kalian harus memenuhi semua kebutuhan rutin kalian terlebih dahulu nih. Barulah setelah itu kalian bisa mengalokasikan pendapatan kalian untuk memenuhi kebutuhan pelengkap lainnya. Kita masuk ke tips yang kedua ya sobat investor. Jadi penting sekali bagi kalian untuk menutup hutang sesuai dengan kemampuan kalian. Selain itu, kalian juga perlu menentukan utang mana yang harus kalian dahulukan untuk dilunasi. Selain itu, penting juga untuk selalu menyesuaikan dengan uang tunai yang kalian miliki. Tips selanjutnya yaitu tips yang ketiga. Jadi kalian penting sekali untuk menekan biaya bulanan nih sobat investor. Jadi kalian juga memang harus memangkas kebutuhan yang memang sifatnya hanya pelengkap saja. Dan penting sekali bagi kalian untuk mempertahankan biaya bulanan yang sifatnya memang untuk kebutuhan utama kalian. Tips yang keempat terkait dengan pengelolaan aset. Jadi jika ternyata penghasilan yang kalian miliki ini tidak bisa menutup kebutuhan kalian, maka kalian bisa mempertimbangkan untuk menjual aset yang kalian miliki. Tips yang kelima, jangan lupa sisihkan sekitar 10% dari penghasilan kalian untuk ditabung di tiap bulannya. Dan saat keadaan keuangan kalian sedang sulit, tidak menjadi alasan untuk gagal mencapai impian. Jangan lupa ya, harus selalu rajin dan juga disiplin dalam menabung sobat investor.
Welcome back to Market Headline. Minister of Investment reported 223 trillion rupiah investment realization in the second quarter of 2021. This achievement grew by 16.2% compared to the same realization last year, which was only 491.9 trillion rupiah. Minister of Investment Bahlil Lahadalia said the positive investment performance in the April to June period was in line with domestic economic recovery. Thus, investors are more confident to invest in Indonesia. The investment value comes from domestic investment of 106.2 trillion rupiah and also foreign investment of 116.8 trillion rupiah.
Ini sebelum PPKM. Itu realisasi investasi kita itu sebesar 223 triliun. Ya. Itu tumbuh 1,5% secara Q&Q. Karena di 2021 kuartal pertama itu sebesar 219 triliun. Dan year on year-nya itu 16,2%.
Based on the business sector, investment realization in the second quarter was dominated by 5 sectors. First, housing, industrial, and office area by 14%. Second, base metal industry, metal goods, and non-machinery and equipment contributed around 13.2%. And third, transportation, warehouse, and telecommunications by 12.5%. From Jakarta, Adi Firmansyah, IDX Channel. After unprecedented pandemic-driven swings in the global financial market last year, 2021 was never going to be dull. And so it has been proven. Halfway through 2021, many investments come to Indonesia as the economy is in the stage of recovery globally. And therefore, in the first graphic, I will explain to you about the investment realization in Indonesia in the first half of 2021. Let's take it down in the first graphic. Here it is. Through the first graphic, we can see the conditions of Indonesia's investment realizations through the halfway of 2021 and its target. First of all, we can see that the first half of 2021, the realization reached around 442 trillion rupiah. Meanwhile, for the full year target, it is more than 50% of it by 900 trillion rupiah. Let's see if government can catch this up or not. So it means that the achievement met around 49.2% of this year's investment realizations. So yes, we can see that the full year target is 900 trillion rupiah. So it means that the achievement met around 49.2% of this year's investment target of 900 trillion rupiah. Well, it clears that the realizations of investment has not reached the half of the target until the first half of the year. But even so, the Minister of Investment, Bahlil Lahadalia, said that this realization was quite good because it grew around 16% on the annual basis from the first semester of 2020. Well, basically, investment is divided into two parts, the domestic one and the foreign one. Let's see the proportion in the second quarter in the next graphic. Here it is. We can see the proportion of the investment realizations between the domestic one and the foreign one. First of all, we can see that the proportions is largely belongs to foreign investment by 228.5 trillion rupiah. Meanwhile, for the domestic investment, only reached 214.3 trillion rupiah. So it means that the domestic accountability is 48% of the whole investment realization. So we can say that foreign investment is larger than the domestic investment one. But then Bahlil noted that the realizations of this investment comes from the domestic investment by 214 trillion rupiah, or equivalent to 48.4% of the total realization that had entered. So the growth is around about 3.5%. And the rest was filled by the flow of foreign investment, reaching around 228.5 trillion rupiah, or it means that it is around 51.6% of the target. So it grew around 16.8%. And the Minister of Investment, Bahlil Lahadalia, said that this positive investment performance in the April to June period was in line with the domestic economic recovery. Thus, investors are becoming more confident to invest in Indonesia. But based on the location itself, investors' appetite is more to the Java Island compared to other locations. So we can see the comparisons in the next graphic. So here it is through the next graphic. Through your screen, we can see that the investment flow based on the locations, and Java still going to be the majority of it, while the outside Java is around 52% of it. So Java has around 214.53 trillion rupiah investment. Meanwhile, for outside Java, it has 228.23 trillion rupiah. So the proportion, Java Island only dominates around 48% of the whole investment flow in Indonesia. But based on the placement locations, we can see that the investment flow in Java is 214.53 trillion rupiah, or it means that 48%. So in fact, that its growth rose about 2.7%. Meanwhile, investment outside Java reached around 228%, or it would be like 51.5% of the total, and the realizations grew about 17.8% on the annual basis. So based on the business sector, investment realization in the second quarter was dominated by 5 sectors, and I will tell you the 3 sectors itself. The first is housing, industrial, and office areas by 14%. And the second is a base metal industry, metal goods, not machinery and equipment, contributed around 13.3%. And the third is that transportations, warehouse, and telecommunications, that is contributed by around 12.5%. But then the next question is, behind these enormous investment value, other than domestic financing, of course, which country that invests to Indonesia the most? Let's see the next graphic. Here it is. Through your screen, we can see the top foreign investors in Indonesia. The first graphic tells us about how Singapore becomes the top major country that contribute to Indonesia investment. We can see that Singapore contributed around 4.7 billion US dollar only in the first half of 2021, and followed by Hong Kong by 2.3 billion US dollar. China in the third positions by 1.7 billion US dollar. Meanwhile, we can see this European country, Netherlands, belongs in the fourth positions by 1.3 billion rupiah. Meanwhile, South Korea contributed about 1.1 billion US dollar. And here it is the good fact. The fact is that in the first quarter of 2021, the European countries in the top 5 positions were Switzerland. Then the Netherlands topped the third spot in the second quarter of 2021. This exhibited a positive impressions that the international community, particularly European investors, remain confident to invest in Indonesia. And after the withdrawal of the United Kingdom from the European Union on January 2021, the Netherlands is serving as the continent's new investment hub for Indonesia. And yes, viewers, we hope that Indonesia can always catch the investors' appetite, and therefore it can benefit Indonesia's economy as a whole, and moreover, absorb many workers. Stay tuned on Market Headlines, because we will be right back after this quick break.
aplikasi mClears hadir di handphone Anda untuk memudahkan transaksi Anda. Informasi aktivitas clearing dan penjaminan tidak lagi hanya dapat diakses melalui komputer di kantor Anda, melainkan dapat diakses di mana saja dan kapan saja dalam genggaman Anda. Fitur-fitur mClears. Equity clearing dan settlement adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi kewajiban settlement anggota clearing hingga nilai alternate case settlement serta informasi gagal bayar. Risk management adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi trading limit, kolateral, MKBD, portofolio harian, risk charge anggota clearing dan kombinasi, serta nilai minimum cash collateral. Derivatif adalah fitur di mana Anda dapat melihat posisi trading limit, margin call, dan informasi clearing derivatif. Terkait pinjam-meminjam efek, terdapat fitur mengenai borrowing information dan lendable pool information, serta lending revenue dan borrowing fee. Serta menu lain yang menampilkan informasi mengenai haircut, risk charge saham, dan nilai harga penyelesaian harian dan harga penyelesaian final. Selain itu, Anda juga dapat mengakses fitur pengumuman, peraturan, dan informasi layanan KPEI pada aplikasi mClears. Download aplikasi mClears di App Store atau Google Play Store. Lakukan registrasi user Anda dengan menggunakan alamat email berdomain resmi yang sesuai dengan anggota clearing Anda. Setelah registrasi, Anda akan diberikan kode OTP di email Anda untuk verifikasi, dan aplikasi mClears Anda siap untuk digunakan. Anda dapat mengakses seluruh menu pada aplikasi mClears dengan melakukan aktivasi berlangganan premium yang dapat dilakukan dengan memilih menu Get Premium. Download aplikasinya sekarang, lakukan registrasi, dan dapatkan kemudahan dalam genggaman tangan Anda. Kemudahan informasi KPEI dalam genggaman Anda.
Target kita di kuartal kedua atas 7%.
Yes, viewers, let's take a look at Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement. So earlier today, JCR was open at a level of 6,102.83. And then approaching the closing time in the first session, the index was on the level of 6,087.77. And the index was showing weakening trend by the second session closing time. The index was closed at the level of 6,088.52. In short, JCI went down 0.14%. Next, we're going to see the sectoral movement. Leading the dynamics of today's trading, we got clinical as the leader of the strengthening trend that went up 0.66%. We got finance that went up 0.15%. We got infrastructure that went down 1.48%. And transportations and logistics went down 0.88%. Moving on to the top gainers and the top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading sessions. We got Arto that went up 4.6% to the level of 18,200 per share. We got Agro that went up 8.78%. We got DMMX that went up 0.99%. And we got Brisk that went up 3.32%. Meantime, for the top losers for today's trading sessions, we got BBCA that went down 0.42%. We got Telkom Indonesia that went down 2.45%. We got BBRI that went down 1.84%, and BABP that went down 1.6%. Next, we're going to see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. So rupiah opened at a level of 14,490. Rupiah was also showing strengthening trend towards US dollar. I was closed at the level of 14,455. In summary, rupiah went up 0.22%. Krakatau Steel is targeting fresh funds up to $600 million from the divestment of its subsidiary and IPO of Krakatau Sarana Infrastructure in 2021 and 2022.
Krakatau Steel is targeting fresh funds of 200 up to 300 million US dollar from the divestment of 20 up to 30% shares of its subsidiary Krakatau Sarana Infrastruktur in the third quarter of 2021. The company also targets to raise 200 up to 300 million US dollar from the initial public offering of the subholding shares in the first quarter of 2022. Meanwhile, the Indonesia Investment Authority, Dana Reksa, Indonesia Infrastructure Finance, and Perusahaan Pengelola Aset are reportedly interested in buying the divested shares of Krakatau Sarana Infrastruktur. However, the corporate secretary of Dana Reksa, Putu Dewika Angganingrum, is also not willing to explain in more detail. Meanwhile, Indonesia Investment Authority Chief Risk Officer Marita Ali Shahbana previously said that INA was looking at the many sectors, although for the initial phase, infrastructure such as toll roads, airports, and ports are sectors whose assessment stages are quite far away. IDX Channel reports.
Bank Jago recorded a net loss of 47 billion rupiah in the first semester of 2021, or 8% lower than the same period of the previous year.
Bank Jago still recorded a net loss of 47 billion rupiah in the first semester of 2021, down 8% compared to the same period last year, with a net loss of 50.91 billion rupiah. Management of Bank Jago explained that the achievements during the first semester of 2021 show that the company is on the right track in realizing Jago's great aspirations as a technology-based bank embedded in the ecosystem. The management said that after completing the rights issue in April 2021, Bank Jago continued to expand. In the last 3 months, the company has succeeded in increasing lending and expanding collaboration with the digital ecosystem. Collaboration is realized with a number of peer-to-peer lending, multi-finance digital ecosystem companies, and application integration with the Bibit investment platform and the Gojek Super App. IDX Channel reports.
Step aside from market conditions as coronavirus pandemic takes big role on current economic situation. Here it is an update data about coronavirus globally. On the news close of market headlines today, please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, your trustworthy economic, business, and capital market channel. As the COVID-19 pandemic is still going on, keep protecting your family by following health protocols, wearing face masks, keep your distance and stay away from crowds, and washing your hands through running water. And also continue to support the vaccinations program to accelerate the creation of a herd immunity. I'm Claranta Wijaya, signing off. Stay safe.